Just where we picked up from, where we finished off just before coming into this part of the lesson, you mentioned that the world clay needs to keep its independence, its education, what it basically learns as its way of life. But
להמשיך איפה שעצרנו, אמרת שהכלי העולמי צריך לפתח את העצמאות שלו, לפתח את הצורת קיום שלו, צורת החיים שלו.
But it kind of leaves Israel and the world clay hanging in that, how do we join? When you say to join with us, what do you mean? What does that mean from the world clay, to join with Israel? And then how do we do that in dissemination? Like, where's the independence?
אבל זה משאיר אותנו באוויר, מה זה אומר שהכלי העולמי צריך להצטרף לישראל, איך זה משאיר אותנו עצמאים?
לא הבנתי.
I didn't get it. Can you repeat? It's tying us to Israel, meaning that our spiritual advancement, we suddenly feel that it's tying us to Israel. Yes?
He's asking, how do we join Israel but still remain independent in the world clay?
I don't know what it means. What is he calling Israel? The problem are those definitions. Either we draw them from this world, or we give them a spiritual definition. I have to care about Israel, those people who are already in the collective Kli, Yashar Kel. I have to care for them. I want to join them. I want to connect to them. I don't care who they are, what they are, just the way they exited Babylon 3,500 years ago, leaving all of the rest of humanity, started to move towards the Creator. That's why they're called Yashar Kel. I want to join these people. I depend on them, and they depend on me, and we are together, all of us. This is true. The Israel of this world, the state, I feel that there's a connection to it as well, because this state and the people in it, and on the corporeal scale, the people here have to show everyone both the method and the result of connection. So I have to try to influence them as much as possible. That's why we disseminate around the world, first of all, to Jews. We're going out specifically, we try to go out to the Jews all over the world, because they're the ones who, in the past, in past incarnations, they used to be in the correction and in that action of connection between them, and they have the reshimot from that. And although, because of the destruction of the temple, they fell from that high degree, and because they fell even lower than the rest of the world. They're the biggest egoists, but specifically, we can wake them up specifically because we have reshimot from those past states, even though they may not know about it themselves. So we have to come there and awaken them. Why? It's very simple. From Babylon, a part of Babylon rose to the degree of the Creator and fell. And when it fell, I'm running out of space here. Maybe I'll do it like this. So they fell. So it correspondingly fell even lower. And Babylonians continued like that. Maybe they advanced a little bit on the egotistic level, or more meaning descended egotistically, but they continue. So this is Babylon. This is Israel of that time. This is minus 3,500 years.
וזה שהם עלו, שהם היו ישראל, זה מינוס נגיד 1,000 שנה.
This is, let's say, minus 1,000.
אוי, מינוס 3,000 שנה.
3,000, minus 3,000. That's the first temple. First temple, second temple, doesn't matter. And when they fell lower than the nations of the world. And this is called Umot Ha'olam, nations of the world. And this is Israel who fell, their negative state. So how to awaken? And then this mixing happened, this intermingling happened. They fell and they're seemingly together, except Israel are even more selfish. This on this axis right here is the ego. Except this is up here is bestowal, ashpa. Everybody understands ashpa. And this is Kabbalah reception.
זאת אומרת, זה כאן זה מינוס אגו וכאן זה פלוס.
So this is the negative ego and this is positive ego.
ואז יש כאן ערבוב, אז זה נקרא גלות.
And here, this intermingling part is called galut, exile. Do you write it with H? I don't know. What is galut? What is exile? Oh, it is itkalelut. There's a mingling, inclusion, itkalelut. And then during this time of itkalelut, we are now starting to scrutinize things once again. And that's it. Therefore, we have to act from this point onward. The nations of the world have to work against Israel, who are the worst and hardest to awaken, and that's what we have to do. And by that, to rise again. And then we rise and we raise everyone to a degree called the third temple, which is called Gmar Tikun. Yes.
Be that as it may, what would you ask South America to do then? Who do they disseminate to?
אתה מדבר עכשיו על, אתה עכשיו מדבר על ישראל, מה היית ממליץ לאמריקאים לעשות?
Like brother, I get it. We need to wake up Israel. It's just that every time this green-eyed, blonde-haired kid walks into a synagogue, the first question he's asked is, "Are you Jewish?" And that's the end of the conversation.
אני מבין שצריך לעורר את ישראל, אבל כל פעם שבחור עם עיניים ירוקות ושיער בלונדיני נכנס לבית כנסת, שואלים אותו, האם אתה יהודי? ובזה נגמר הסיפור.
אני מבין אותו.
I understand him. First of all, it's written in the prophecies that specifically those who are not Jews, they will obligate the people of Israel, they will help the people of Israel to reach the construction of this final kli. There isn't a more important article from Baal Sulam than the introduction to the book of Zohar, because the book of Zohar is the most important, and the introduction to that book is the most important. And at the end of the introduction, how does he conclude it? He concludes it by saying that specifically by the help of the nations of the world, Israel reaches a state where they'll be able to connect, unite everything, and bring the world to the end of correction by the actions of the nations of the world.
It's written in Yeshaya 14.
That's a prophet, Isaiah.
Yeah, and Bala Salam quotes him in the end of the introduction to the book of Zohar. And the nations took them and brought them to the place, and they settled, the house of Israel settled on the land of the Lord, and they brought their sons and their daughters on their shoulders.
And by that we'll reach the end of correction. Yes?
So then, is my work in action or in intention then? Where do I fit in?
אז העבודה שלי היא במעשה או בכוונה? איפה אני נכנס לתמונה? הוא שואל.
לא, העבודה שלנו היא דווקא...
No, our work is specifically in action. We will certainly do it in intention, but first of all in the actions. And we have to see where do we succeed and come to as close as possible to it. We have physical work with the audience. We have work through the internet, through various media that people read, and especially the Jews. And we have to search how to reach it. I turn to our friends who are not born Jewish, because according to the plan of creation, they specifically have to awaken the Jewish people, because this ascent, according to the drawing, when we rose to that level and fell, this is the first temple, and then second temple.
שניים. נו. אז בשביל מה ישראל עשה את זה?
Why did Israel do it? Why did Abraham take that small group out of Babylon? Should have taken all of Babylon, no? Because there is no partial in spirituality. What you're just working with a part, it's not going to do any good. You take 1% from Babylon, and what will be of it? It's like you put a culture in the milk so it will ferment. We studied in study of the teshovot. It's required that it will be a small part, a catalyst, and then it starts performs the whole work by entering the system. So they have to rise to that degree where they acquire spirituality, and then all this spirituality, they need to pour it in a different way into corporeality. And then when they do it, everyone can ascend. And who will ascend? Israel is all the way down here. It's in a great deficit, a great minus. It's in a worse state compared to the others. They're more egotists. They desire spirituality even less, except for a select few. Because they have an affinity to it because they have to awaken. They're willing to get involved with the whole world in all sorts of places. We don't even know what will be. Not just the 10 tribes, but everyone. So what we can do, we awaken this part of Israel called Kabbalists, Mekubalim in Hebrew, Kabbalists. So they can awaken, but ultimately they will awaken, the Kabbalists awaken the nations of the world, and the nations of the world will begin to awaken Israel. And then Israel, together with the nations of the world, begin to rise, to ascend to the end of correction. So, in all our groups, we're called Yashar Kel. We're called Yashar Kel, and we have to awaken It's written in the introduction to the book of Zohar. First, awaken the Jews. There's no other choice. Now, we have groups all over the world. Some of them have greater success, some have less success. Groups in Russia are very successful, even though everything is done in a very kind of limited manner, but there are new discernments that we're able to reach those crowds. Although around them they have those rabbis and all those organizers who wouldn't let anyone get in there because that's how they make a living. In short, it's a very egotistical business, all those communities. But we have option through the media, through the internet to enter it. We can. We have those people among us who are, born Jewish, so we have opportunities to get in there. In short, we have to learn how to do it. I hope that we will hear from those who succeed, especially the Russian groups, and we'll see what can be done. But that's the order of the world and its correction. There's no choice here. We have to follow this roadmap and see what's on the way, and that's how we correct, and that's how Babylon will reach the next degree. Otherwise, the world will suffer greatly.